Time to hone in on a new, outrageous, unfit pick for a national security and intelligence post, Sebastian Gorka, who lasted 7 months the last time Donald Trump tried to put him in an intelligence position before he got bounced by the chief of staff then, John Kelly, mainly because he also couldn't pass a security clearance test. Gorka is back with his ties to Nazis in Hungary, and I'm here for it. And so are you. Legal AF, the YouTube channel, hit the blue subscribe button. I'm at the intersection of law, politics, and radical fanatics that Donald Trump has tried to appoint to positions that don't require Senate confirmation. I'm Michael Popok. Listen, this is a dress rehearsal for Kash Patel. Donald Trump is trying to find a place to stash cash. He's trying to find a place for Kash Patel, who's completely unfit and unqualified and unhinged, either as FBI director or some other intelligence head or something in the Department of Justice. Maybe that doesn't require Senate confirmation. But first, he's going to float Sebastian Gorka. Now, Sebastian Gorka is so batshit, you know what, that even other MAGA don't want to work for him. Michael Anton, a right-wing conservative writer who had been in a prior Trump administration post in intelligence, as soon as he heard that Sebastian Gorka Trump was trying to bring him back into the administration, he declined his position. He's like, I'm out. In fact, let me read you a quote. This might be one of the most beautifully written pieces of summary in this nomination process that I've heard so far. This is from Esquire magazine. And this is one of these things I wished I had wrote it. You know, it's just that good. This is Charles Pierce, a columnist for Esquire magazine, who wrote about Gorka, quote, out of what seems to be the endless parade of wackadoos, smackbrains, rockheads, fanatics, lunatics, and general shit for brains that have been following El Caudillo del Mar-a-Lago, Trump, ever since he rode down the escalator at Trump Tower in 2015 and sent the American idea of self-government on an express escalator to hell, none have been more ridiculous than Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Not a medical doctor, even though he spouts out medical advice. He's got a PhD in political science. I basically almost have that. All right, let's talk about Sebastian Gorka. Came in from Hungary. Donald Trump made a big statement about that. He's a legal immigrant. Okay. His father got to Hungary in the 1930s and joined some right-wing organizations there that have ties to being a Nazis. I would normally say, you know, the sin of my fathers should not be visited upon the son, so let's not blame Gorka, except during the inauguration 4 years ago, he wore a military tunic with a medal from this organization as his dress uniform to go to the inauguration. So he doesn't like run away from his father's Nazi ties. He sort of embraces it, right? So this guy could not get a security clearance when Donald Trump tried to place him in the intelligence community last time. He made it 7 months. We're going to run a poll soon. How long will Sebastian Gorka make it in the Trump administration before he wears out his welcome with the real people who are doing the national intelligence? You know, like John Ratliff, the CIA director, and different people that Donald Trump has put together that sort of know what they're doing. That is not Sebastian Gorka. He says crazy things out loud, like he's a right-wing Christian nationalist. Do you see a theme here? Right-wing Christian nationalist who's going to take over in the Office of Management and Budget, right? Russ Vought, also the chief architect of Project 2025, right-wing Christian nationalist. Right-wing Christian nationalist Pete Hegseth for Department of Defense to run the Pentagon. Do you see the theme here? Right-wing Christian nationalists coming out of the America First Policy Institute and all of that. This is where Donald Trump, he's either taking it from the Fox and Friends news bench or he's taking it from this right-wing extreme Christian nationalist. Gorka has said out loud that they are not, his view is that they are, like him, are not the lambs of the Bible. That's our Savior, Jesus Christ. He said, we're the ones that throw over the tables of the moneylenders. We should sell everything and pick up a sword. This is the guy, and that crazy stew in his mind that Donald Trump wants to reward with a position in the intelligence community as well. And I agree with the Esquire writer. Among all of the alleged conspiracy theorists, sex traffickers, sex abusers, pedophiles, and Russian assets that have so far been the first wave of Donald Trump's cabinet nominations, Gorka may take the case. Even Donald Trump doesn't think he can pass a Senate confirmation hearing. So he's putting him in a position that doesn't require Senate confirmation, which ties me back to Kash Patel, right? They're trying to stash cash. This is what they did last time. They trot out Gates, Matt Gates. He's so crazy, mad as a hatter, that they knew he was never going to pass a Senate confirmation with his alleged sex predator and pedophile profile. Never. So then they got their number two. Now we'll slide in Pam Bondi. Yeah, Pam Bondi, former Attorney General of Florida. She looks like a Fox News co-anchor. Let's use her. She'll say and do anything we tell her to do, and that's what he's looking for. And after Matt Gaetz, as I've said before, a chimpanzee in a diaper smoking a cigarette would become the Attorney General. Because they'd be like, well, at least it's not Matt Gaetz. This is what's going to happen now with Kash Patel. That's who he really wants, Trump, to run the FBI, or maybe the deputy director of the FBI or something else that doesn't need Senate confirmation. Trot out. Let's see how the knives come out for the sacrificial lamb that is, speaking of lambs, that is Sebastian Gorka. Oh, that didn't work. All right. Then we'll know what to do next with Kash. So all jocularity aside, it is dangerous for our national security to place people like Sebastian Gorka and make recommendations to the president and have him help be a gatekeeper for information and escalation to the person occupying the Oval Office through his colored glasses and his Christian nationalism and his ties to being a Nazi through his father. That is a dangerous place to be, especially when coupled with who Donald Trump wants for the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who could never pass a security clearance if Donald Trump didn't force one down our throat and just give it to her, which he's apparently allowed to do under the Constitution somehow. She's compromised ethically, morally, politically, and from an intelligence community standpoint. So you got the national intelligence director person who may or may not be a Russian asset. The fact that I even say that out loud shows you how weak this pick is. And then you've got Gorka. It's so bad, I told you. Michael Anton, right-wing conservative, who sort of knows his way around national intelligence, was like, yeah, no, I'm not joining this administration. This isn't a serious approach. And if we don't have serious approaches to our national security and national intelligence, what do we have? I mean, the first thing that a president needs to do is to protect the homeland and make sure we have a homeland to protect, right? From an economic standpoint, make sure it's secure, make sure it's thriving, make sure Americans are rewarded for hard work, or if they can't and they need social safety net, that they have that as well. And from a foreign policy standpoint and from a national security policy standpoint, make sure that we're safe. How do you do that with this group of people? I'm going to continue to follow all of these people closely, because you need to have this information in order for you to debate in the marketplace of ideas, which I don't want to undersell, and I won't undersell how important it is for the American people to rise up now and oppose this right-wing, Christian right, radicalized agenda that's going to make our country not safe. And we can do it by bringing a firestorm of public criticism against the things that Donald Trump's doing. As a bulwark against this, as a phony firewall, Donald Trump is having all of his people declare that it was a mandate, it was a historic win, it was a landslide. I did a hot take on this, and people were like, "Who cares? He won." I know he won. I'm not talking about I know he won. The point is, he's using this giant sword to bludgeon us, right? When it wasn't a historic, and I want people to remember, it was not a historic upset victory. I mean, it was an upset victory, but it was not a historic win, a landslide mandate for him to do and say anything that he wants and shove his entire. We didn't vote for his radical agenda. We didn't vote for him to put Sebastian Gorka in office or these other crazy picks. We didn't vote for this. I mean, we could debate all night long what people actually voted for when they voted for Donald Trump or they didn't vote for Kamala Harris, and where 7 million people and 7 million voters went, and where 4% of the electorate went from 2020 and didn't show up at the polls. We can debate all day long about that. But we can't allow them to use and gaslight us and say it was a mandate and they're going to shove everything down our throat and for women up their bodies. And we're just going to sit by and go, well, that's what people voted for. I don't want that type of resignation or abandonment to seep into the water table and become part of our audience. We got work to do. We got more work. The mountain just got steeper, but not impossible. People climb Mount Everest without oxygen every day. Well, not every day. It's doable. And we're going to do it together, linking arms. Thank you for being here on Legal AF and on the Midas Touch Network as well. I'm Michael Popok. I do everything here on Legal AF as the chief curator. And then I've got the podcast on Wednesdays and Saturdays with Ben Meiselas and Karen Friedman McNiflo called Legal AF. And then we got hot takes like this and new shows and new content, all things Legal AF. You can find us if you want to support at the intersection of law and politics. So until my next contact, my next communication, my next live Popok on Tuesday nights on Midas Touch, whatever you want to call it, I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.